You hear so much about heart disease, heart attacks, and bypass surgeries, but you never imagine it to be something that hits your own family, let alone your 9-month-old son. This happened to a family right here in Oklahoma, a family with quite a story to share, who were recently chosen for Extreme Makeover Home Edition. Meet Audra Skaggs and her son Jet.
When Jet was first born, he was only like a few minutes old. He actually quit breathing while I was nursing him. When he was 2 weeks old, he stopped breathing again, and we rushed him to the hospital, and by the time we got there, he was alert and acting like nothing was going on. The morning before he was to see his gastroenterologist, he stopped breathing. And I was getting ready for work and getting ready to take both Jed and my daughter to the babysitter. I sat him down in the floor just thinking, you know, he was screaming, maybe he'd calm himself down, and then he just stopped. Just complete silence. And I was in the kitchen and I ran back in, and by that time my husband was in the floor giving him CPR. And he picked him up and put him on the sofa, and I called 911, and my husband, it seemed like forever, was trying to get him to breathe, giving him CPR, and I was just, you know, on the phone panicking, telling the ambulance, just hurry, you know, hurry. And it was about 2 days after that, I was at home with the kids by myself, and I had hooked him up to the heart monitor and laid him down for a nap. Went and grabbed the telephone and came back, and while I was dialing 911 and talking to the dispatcher, I was giving him CPR. And I was praying because I'd never given CPR on anyone before. And you know, I had been trained because I'm a teacher. Just as soon as the ambulance pulled in, he started crying. And this time, the ambulance, it's a small town, they knew who we were, and they already had called a helicopter to have him meta-flighted. So we took him to town, and they meta-flighted him to Children's Hospital in Oklahoma City. Ended up staying there 2 weeks because he began to go into what they call a VTAC, where your heart rate gets really, really, really high, and then you go into basically cardiac arrest. And he arrested several times just in the ICU, and that's when they came in and told us that he had actually been in heart failure since he was born. And because he was becoming more active and older, his heart couldn't keep up. So he was going to have a transplant. I remember asking him to tell me again, because you know, the entire time, basically for 10 months, I'm shoving this medicine down my kid's throat because I think he has gas and I think he has stomach problems. And then you're telling me now he has to have a new heart. And just the thought of that surgery was just, you know, mind-boggling to me. The nurse, she asked me if I was sitting down, and I said yes. And she said, well, we have a heart for Jet. And I think I actually exhaled probably at that time, the first time I had in probably about 2 weeks. And I went back upstairs to see him again, and everybody was in the hallway, and they were, you know, so excited, you know. But at the same time, I remember thinking, you know, someone else, you know, wasn't as happy probably as I was, but just for some complete stranger to make that choice to give, you know, my child a second chance at life was more than I can ever say thank you for. When you have a child that has a heart disease, it's, you know, amazing how many other kids are out there that you just kind of become more aware of. You know, heart disease is more common than you think it is. When you have a child that, you know, every birthday counts for something much more than just an age, you kind of look at it differently, and you just, you know, praise God every day for the days that you have with them. I am thankful that Jet has had a second chance. If it were not for the research and scientific discoveries through the American Heart Association and the grace of God, Jet's story may have turned out differently.